Good morning. Welcome to Community Voice. I'm your host, Keith Parris. I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning. Good morning, Debo. Good morning, Jermaine. Everybody.
Good morning there, sir. Good morning there, sir.
On this Wednesday.
I got you. That was me.
Wow. It was when it's cold outside. So anyway, it's Wednesday. I'm kind of feeling like it's Wednesday. You know, like it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday. Okay. I don't need the binoculars when things are going on over at the gas station.
It's called the Binocular Ministry. Amen.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, because with these right here, you can see what's to come. So we call see into your future. And I looked across the street and saw somebody cooking eggs in their apartment. That's how strong these things are.
Remember, people would talk about like those thick glasses.
Yeah, but not bifocals.
Bifocals was
Coke bottle glasses.
Yeah, they're Coke bottle, man.
Yeah.
It's so thick and people just really need it. I mean, I didn't start wearing glasses until I was an adult, and I didn't realize how blind I was until I got glasses.
I didn't realize how bad my left eye is, man. Like, it is terrible, man.
She did, ain't she? Who burned down Andre Rison's house? Was
that's
that
the one.
That was the left eye.
Left eye.
I didn't mean to burn the house down. Well,
The
you
whole
did.
house?
You burned the whole house down.
I can understand
And you know,
that.
here's conspiracy with a Q. I believe that Kareem's baby's mama had something to do with that house being burnt down.
Who's baby mama?
Kareem, you remember back when this house burned down back in the day?
Oh.
Lost everything. And I should, because you can have a fire. So I need to, but I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm like conspiracy brother.
I watched a 2-part. It might have been a 3rd part. I stopped watching it. I had to get ready to come in here. But they were saying that the foot, and I could be behind the times. The football players. I know you guys are really into sports. That play for the Patriots. That
Hernandez.
Yeah.
Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah. Yeah. They're saying that he would have gotten off from the first trial if they had known that he had such a severe case of CTS, I think it was.
Well, I mean, this is the crazy thing about it, because you won't know until you die, because you would have to die, and then they would have
That's
to take
the only
your
way
brain.
they can find out.
That's the
No,
only way
but they if they had even looked for it.
See, but they can't see it.
You can't see it. You have to actually.
No, there's a test of some sort because the attorney said if I had just thought to test for that.
No,
he
they
couldn't.
can't test the brain until you dead.
And see what he ended up doing was he got Massachusetts laws changed based on what happened, because when he committed suicide, well, couple of things happened. One, the Patriots still had to pay him.
Yeah,
they owed him money, and
so that went to the fiance and the
because
and the
they changed the law going back that she couldn't receive any money from that, because he figured if he commits suicide, a couple of things it does. Obviously, it vacates the conviction.
Yeah,
which means that
did he not have a pension?
Oh yeah.
But you got to play a certain amount of years, don't you?
Yeah. There was a lot going on with this dude from the very beginning.
From college.
And it shows how when you have certain skills, people look the other way when it comes to bad behavior. Everything from Urban Meyer, when he was at Florida, he saw behavior, they got him out. He shot a dude when he was a student at Florida, right? At a nightclub.
He was gangbanging.
Yeah, well,
No, he was gangbanging.
No. He killed 2 people.
I know.
No,
he
killed
but
2
he was
people.
gangbanging
He killed 2 people after that, but he had an incident in college.
Yeah.
And so people said,
well, this was at a nightclub too, so that's why.
Right.
Yeah.
It was in Miami.
Yeah.
So he had issues all along. Obviously, he was dealing with his closeted homosexual,
Yeah.
and homosexuality. He had a lot going on.
So wasn't that his guy who he killed?
His
His
girl,
fiance,
his fiance,
sister's boyfriend.
Sister's brother. Yeah.
So
I mean, but they was guys.
but
Yeah,
this
but he
dude,
also was
man,
afraid that he was going to out him on
Yeah,
something.
That was the theory.
On the homicide. It was
No.
on the homie.
He was going to out him.
Yeah.
He was
people-
talking about
I thought he was going to out him on the homicide.
Something about his sexuality.
it's about his sexuality.
It's what they say in the documentary
Because
that
they
I
took
watched
him
this
down.
morning.
Because he took him down to like the river or something like that.
And just show you, man, dude had cameras in the house, and the cameras are incriminating. Then they got the pings on the phone. They used a rent-a-car. I mean, there was a lot that went wrong, but then, they smoking high-grade weed. So
that ain't gonna make you do that.
Yeah, no, it ain't gonna make you do it, but it can impair your judgment.
It never impaired mine.
They actually show him coming out the basement with the gun
With the gun.
after the murder.
Yeah.
See, that's because when you do stuff like that, you're not thinking rational. So you just moving and not thinking. But then after when you sit back and think, it's like, oh, it's too late.
And he could have been bipolar. There was a lot that was going on, but there's always this bigger question about what people will do. There were people who were enablers around Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
And so they made sure that she was drugged up. But here's the problem. It began to impact on her ability to perform. Right? And she should have got the help that she needed because she OD'd on the set of Waiting to Exhale. And there's a lot because you can have all the talent in the world, but you're still that human being, right? And you have your challenges. Yeah, and people around you, they're just around you because they eating because of you.
Yeah.
And so you'll have people there and they put them out. There are people saying Gladys Knight shouldn't be touring, but there are people, around her, girl, you still can do it. Well, people eating.
Man, she was just standing on stage, and I felt terrible. I was sitting there watching her. She was just standing on stage looking, and then she would smile and she would blow a kiss, and then she'd try to say the words. And I'm like, man, why?
And I don't know if if you should still be going strong in your 80s.
Yeah.
But a lot of it's the finances, where people, how they've dealt with their finances. A lot of these people are working because they have to.
Because they have to, yeah.
And that says a whole lot. People talk about Angie Stone.
Yeah.
And, Tyler Perry said, well, she got beat by the record companies.
Yeah.
So she had to get out and tour and put herself in situation. It wasn't like they were flying her in on a private jet.
Yeah. She's on the road.
She's in a van.
She's a spinning van, yeah.
Yeah, so, the
a lot of folks are doing that now, though. Musicians,
Yeah,
they're all those big tour buses and stuff like that. You very rarely see that now.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on the tour.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Who's financing the tour?
Yeah, I mean, if there's money out there, and I kept thinking out every time we put our little banner up advertising the New Edition show that's happening Saturday at 5 Serve. There's a scene in the movie where they all getting off their own buses and they have an entourage, and he go like, and they broke.
Yeah.
They don't even realize they broke. They ain't got no money. That's why, like I said, people out touring. Now there's some people tour because they just do. I mean, there's no way that the Rolling Stones need the money, but the Rolling Stones like touring. I mean, they do, and then they make a lot of money when they tour because they're gonna sell out.
And then too, how they treat white artists compared to how they treat black artists.
White people's money is different. I hate to put it that way.
Yeah, it's just crazy to how they treat.
You eat differently.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You eat very differently.
Yeah.
And people go like, people was on the Chitlin circuit, but they was on the Chitlin circuit out of necessity.
Yeah.
You tell me that, it'd be my preference to not be able to stay in a hotel when I'm traveling in the South. Come on, man. That ain't real, but that's where people were, and then they move on. I rewatched the documentary on Moms Mabley.
Oh.
And just what she was able to achieve and what she was able to do. And then there are people out there who take care of their money. There's other people out there, who because don't let like a substance get involved with it, because then you really manipulate it. I mean, it Motown had to, and maybe they didn't care, But they had to realize that for one point, Rick James was generating Motown's money, right? But Rick James had substance issues, and I'm telling you, man, it'll catch up with you. And a lot of people have always argued. So is it the genius? Does the drugs enhance the genius? I don't know. I don't know, because some people say Coltrane was better when he got clean than he was, when he was an addict. So, I guess it depends on the situation that you is. And I'm only talking about things that are public, where someone like Leandra Johnson, who is, who's talked about her struggles with alcohol, and and then you go, this is gospel. Well, no, she's a human being. So it's always trying to balance that. I think people would ask that question: can you separate, where people are in their lives and what might be sometimes some negative behavior? And truth be told, all of us struggled with something. And for those of us who've been better able to manage, then fine. But the reality is that some things are a struggle. And hopefully you can work through it. You can come to yourself and then say, hey, here's what I want to do. Some people might find religion and what religion does and how it might be able to help you get through some difficult situations. But people are, we as human beings, we can do incredibly wonderful things, and then we can do some incredibly awful things. And that just makes us a fully formed human being. I'm also watching, I'm going to finish it up after the program. I'd seen it, but there's a documentary on Prime called The Riot Report. And it's about the Kenner Report that was done in 1967 after the riots. Milwaukee was part of those cities throughout the country that were rioting. I mean, places like San Francisco, places I didn't even know that they had riots. And it said a lot about how when Black folks migrated to the West and the South, they talked about just the hyper segregation. And in this documentary, and I think it might have been Excel's Barbershop, they actually show a Milwaukee barbershop in 1967 that they visited, because what the Kerner Report did was they actually went out and visited these cities to try to get answers to what was the cause of these riots. LBJ was in a situation where they had just passed the Civil Rights Act in 64, the Voting Rights Act in 1965, and then Watts happened in 1965. And then there were some riots in 1966, but in 1967, the country was on fire. And like I said, Milwaukee, Detroit, Newark. Now Newark and Detroit were the worst. I think, man, about 63 Americans died in Detroit. X number of Americans died in Newark. One of the things that the documentary pointed out, that they were talking about snipers. And there's a scene you see in some of these civil rights movies in Newark where you see these police officers spraying this apartment building. Well, they found out that many of the police officers who were shot, wounded, it was by friendly fire. Same thing with the National Guard. It was about friendly fire. And then people use that as a pretext then to go in and to militarize or further militarize police forces. And I was watching another documentary where they talked about, they said it was about 2,000 rebellions going from 1965 up until, I want to say, probably Ferguson. And they said that most of them had something involved. It was a police involved interaction that sparked the riot. So that has a whole lot to do with how our communities are policed, and then when you get to the North and the West, But you find out in the South that they had like this, they had rigorous codified white only. But if you got to Milwaukee, and they said this in the barbershop, they said for some people, the only interaction they had with white people might be a school teacher or a police officer. That's how segregated the city was. And maybe some people arguing still is. And then this whole fear, when people saw the riots going on, was that then it just appealed to people's prejudices. So they pushed back on open housing. 1966, Dr. King went to Chicago to deal with his rigorous segregation in Chicago, only to meet up with the Daily Machine. You know, what happened in the South was something very different in the North, because how sophisticated the North was in generating segregation. There are terms like redlining, right? There is the interstate. Now, people talk about how the interstate would go through Black communities. True. But what the interstates also did was open up the suburbs, right? And so then you saw a depopulation of urban areas. When I was a kid at its peak, Milwaukee had 1 million people. That's the city, had 1 million people. But Milwaukee has been depopulated primarily by white folks, because, you know, Meech and I was having this argument when they did the census in 1970. Only 10% of Milwaukee's population was Black. Okay. And then that's why when people go, like, if you're here during a certain time and you know this person or you know of this person, it was because we were so packed into what they used to call the inner core, right? They just packed us in. You couldn't get out. So, you know, good living for Black folks back then was getting a crib over here on Capitol, and that you lived north of Capitol. That was good living. Right. And then I thought about the people who went out in the early 70s who went out in that area near Madison High School. Not a whole lot of Black folks could get out there. They had the money. But with redlining, you had veterans who served their country, who were denied VA loans to buy houses, something they earned, a right that they earned by the service that they provided to their country. And so these patterns have been in place. Here's the other thing. We were having this conversation yesterday about child support. 1975, Congress amended the Social Security Act that said that if people, you know, we're going to get our money. Now, look, when you look at the federal dollar, how much is spent on social safety nets, and I'm not including Medicare and Social Security in this, it's like 1 cent on a dollar. And so when conservatives go in, so they had no problems, and they used this example. They were spending about $1 billion on the Great Society. That was LBJ's program to deal with poverty. Okay. They spent $1 billion on that. They were spending $30 billion on the Vietnam War. So we can always find money for bullets, but we can't find money for bread and butter. And then I got to thinking, because I realized if you just look at it through a Black lens, you know who was also hurt when they began to dismantle the Great Society? Were people in West Virginia, people in Kentucky, people in rural Alabama. We talk about white folks now, poor white folks. They were equally impacted by the program. But what will happen? And people from the South would probably, certainly older folks are from the South could attest to this. They would say to these poor white folks who were hungry, living in grinding poverty, they would say to them, at least you're not a nigger. You're still hungry. You're still hungry. And so that's the genius of Fred Hampton, because Fred Hampton had figured out that, you know what, we're all suffering. And I tell, you know, like, and didn't know this, but again, if you go to the documentary, the original Rainbow Coalition, an idea that Jesse Jackson stole, there's a meeting. And in that meeting, you have indigenous people, you have Latino people, you have Black people, and then you got these poor white people. Because in Chicago, the poor white people coming from the South was moved to parts of the North Side, where the North Side, where these poor white people live, looked like the West Side where poor Black people were living. Class is important. And let me recommend a great book to read, Warmth of Another Sun, by Isabella Wilkerson, where she talks about the Great Migration. So for many people come from the South, it was a step up, but you stepped into something. It's what Malcolm called up South, right? Because segregation is real. That there are white folks who are fearful of living with black folks, right? Because here come the black folks. And because when you looked at the images of the riots, you're looking at black folks, so they think, okay, they're going to come and they're going to burn down our community. Oh, America, America, America. All right, that's my rant. It's Wednesday. That's definitely my rant. Hey, I don't know how the president's going to react to Venezuela winning that World Baseball Championship last night. That was a good game. It was a good game. I mean, it was fraught. And the Brewers had like 4 players in the final. No, they had one. Terang. He played for the Americans.
No, you're right. But I thought Jackson Cheerio.
They had 3 on Venezuela's team.
Yeah.
And then isn't Terang?
Terang, yeah.
He's a Brewer.
Yeah, he's a Brewer.
He played with the U.S. team.
Wow.
Yeah. So they can say, yeah, y'all invaded us, but we won the World Baseball Championship. I wonder if they celebrating in the streets of Venezuela right now winning that championship. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Hey, Keith, what's happening with you?
Hey, George.
Keith, that's funny that you and Michelle hit on the same thing today that I wanted to call in and talk about. This, what you say, they can always find money for bullets, right? And so this guy throws so much stuff at us that we forget, because we constantly, I mean, and when I worked for Sears, one of the things is you throw as much as you can against the wall and then see what sticks, right? And so this is what this guy is doing. He's throwing so much stuff. We don't even talk about the boats anymore. We don't talk about Medicare. I mean, the health plan anymore. None of that stuff we don't talk about no more. Now, Hexef just spent how much money? What was it, Keith? On all that wasted money he just spent?
Right.
How much was it?
I mean, I don't know.
She spent all that money on a commercial.
Oh, that's Christy Nome. That was $225 million.
But I'm just going down the line, the list of stuff.
Right.
Did she buy an airplane too?
Yes.
Okay. And all this money that Doge was supposed to be saving, right, cutting all these jobs, they don't care about the American people. And what's funny, Keith, is you just talked about it. These white people keep falling for the same old stuff. You would think in 2026 they get tired of hearing that. So do you watch 60 Minutes?
No, not really.
Okay, so about 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, they were talking about, with them cutting SNAP and Medicare and all that kind of stuff, the money that they took away, how it's affecting these people, these white folks, poor white folks in Virginia. All right. And so he doesn't even care about them. All they have to do, because they want to do a separate bill with getting the TSA people and stuff paid, that's hurting their constituents too. It ain't just hurting black folks. It ain't just hurting Democrats. It's hurting them too. But they keep on falling for this crap. Michelle was talking about food banks and stuff, right? It ain't just us, Keith. I worked in a food bank, but it ain't just us. When I go pick up my grandkids, when I go down 76th Street over there by the State Fair, there's a Methodist church over there, and I think the other one is a Lutheran church. Keith, you should see the lines of white folks that's lined up over there. I mean, where it's going around the corner, Keith, waiting to get food. So it ain't just us. And you mentioned about Fred Hampton. We all caught up in this, and you wonder when white folks are going to stop falling for the same old stuff. And it was funny that you said this, Keith, when I saw the Venezuelans win yesterday, and you saw all those, I'm going to call them brothers because they black men of color, okay? That's what I'm calling them. I wondered the same thing. I wonder what he thought. You think he's going to invite them to the White House? No. And so I know it's a different country, but I was wondering the same thing. What was going on in his mind when he saw that yesterday? Or if he even watched. I don't know if he watched, but I know he heard. So I was just wondering what he was thinking about, and I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you for letting me get my rant in today.
No problem. Yeah, well, we talk about it from time to time. There's this thing called karma. And karma is, karma does not attach a moral value. All karma is saying is that the seeds that you plant will come to harvest. And so if the things that you do, and Jermaine talks about it, where you're doing something for the immediacy, you're doing it for expediency, but they have long-term consequences that you have to think about. Again, there is this idea, maybe it's Wednesday's word, hubris, where people have this outside sense of their power. And what you find out is that power is limited, power is finite. And remember, I say this all the time, these are not serious thinkers that the president has surrounded himself with. He surrounds himself with yes people who agree with him, yes, dear leader. You love to hear where he goes, sir. I mean, for him. And so it's always about making sure they stroke his ego. But the impact that it has on American life, it's like, okay, you lied about, and look, he's no different than George W. Bush. He lied about the reason, weapons of mass destruction that was in Iraq. First, he wanted to say because Iraq was behind 9/11. They kept saying, no, Iraq was not behind 9/11. It's the people your family does business with, the Saudis, right? They financed bin Laden, okay? And so when bin Laden pulled off 9/11, and there's in a book I read called The Bin Ladens, the only planes other than military planes that was in the air on September 12th, 2001 was the plane flying the bin Laden's families out of America. I got the book. Going, you can look it up. So when you look at it, and it's always about the dollar, it's about petrodollars, right? So again, these people are not serious thinkers, because when you go in and you plan a war, you try to think about every eventuality. If this happens, then we might need to pivot here if this happens. So how can you say that you're going to go in, attack Iran? Now, look, Israel could care less about the Strait of Hormuz. They could care less about it. Their thing is they want to wipe out their greatest rival in the Middle East, which is Iran. Okay? That's Israel's mindset. So you probably had somebody in the room sitting against the wall saying, okay, yeah, you can go in and you can bomb them into the Stone Age, but you still got 20% of the world's oil and other products that goes to the Strait of Hormuz. Had you thought about that? And then what they're able to do, because they were talking about that coastline is like driving from Mexico to Washington State, like that coastline out west. So all they need to do with drones, they can send out these little boats. They can do a whole lot of damage, and it's having impact on the world's economy. Because even though we don't get our oil from there, if 20% of the oil is not available, that means that we jack up the price of the 80% of the oil that is. Okay, let's do some math. And I'm not even good with math, but I figured that one out. So you have to think about that. In Carlisle, Pennsylvania, right outside of Carlisle, Pennsylvania, is something called the War College. And the War College is where military people come to study how you conduct war, right? That's what they do. That's what they're trained to do, okay? I don't know if they have anybody, I'm sure maybe in the military, and I don't know if anybody in the military has said, Mr. President, if we do this, this will happen. Okay. And so, yeah, you did it, and now it's happening. And so the world's economy is being severely impacted because a president who looked at Venezuela and thought, we can do the same thing in Iran, and people were going like, no, if you try to put troops on the ground, that's going to be a bloodbath. It's all these things that people are not even thinking about. And real quickly, he said that he will not sign any legislation that comes from Congress unless they pass the Save America Act. Well, if we take him at his word, that means if a deal was cut on funding the Department of Homeland Security, he's not going to sign the funding because he's not going to get the SAVE Act. Now, they've already told him he's not going to get the SAVE Act, right? And so the next 2 weeks, we're going to have this performative theater there in the Senate, right? But Thune has already said he's not going to do the nuclear option on this. And let me give, a broken clock is right twice a day. Say it a lot. Let me give the Republicans credit for saying, you know what? And they're doing the math because they know they're going to lose the House, right? But there's a real possibility now they could lose the Senate. Now you got a different problem. So now if you do this whole nuclear option, which is to say we're going to get rid of the filibuster, we'll have a majority up and down vote. You can do that. That means when the Dems are in power, guess what they're going to do? And they said it out loud. And this is something because Trump don't care. Trump don't care. But unfortunately, we got this drunk dude driving the car. Carla, welcome to the program.
Hey, brother, you know why it seems like that president don't care?
He don't. It don't seem like he don't care.
Okay, let's say he don't care.
Okay.
You know why? We'll say he don't care. You know why? Because he ain't looking at right now. He's looking at the future. And listen to this right here, man. Sometimes these folks will sacrifice their right arm.
How's he looking at the future, Meech?
Because this place has to be reset. There has to be some reset. And they're looking at controlling the world's oil market. They not me and you looking at what's going on now at the pumps. These people are looking at controlling the whole round world, the little piece of oil that's coming through there. They looking to grab hold of that as well. They want to control this, man. See, black folk has got it bad looking at just right now. But anyway, I also called him because we called out.
Wait, ho.
Sure, go ahead.
Wait. This dude is looking at right now, Meech. He's not looking down the road. He's looking at right now. He has this whole inflated sense of power where, we could just use the military and go in. Again, I'm sure there had to be some general, some intelligence analysis said you cannot use Venezuela as your blueprint to deal with Iran. You just can't. And this dude just kind of come out who just quit Kent, and he kind of put him on blast saying, I'm sorry?
You remember Operation, what was it? That little 12-day thing when he went over there, when Israel first went over there to Iran, and America ran over there and threw about 4 or 5 heavy bombs over there. Pow, 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 pow. Came on back home. Remember that?
Yeah, but people told them that your bomb. No, wait a minute. People told him that the bomb can only go so far, and the Iranians built a storage that was deeper than how far the bombs could go.
We're not talking about how deep the bombs could.
Yeah, because but then he comes out and said we wiped out their nuclear capability. Then he turns around and says that they would have had in 5 days a nuclear bomb. Well, I'm not a nuclear physicist, but I know it takes more than 5 days to build a nuclear device. And then to have a delivery system. And then to say that you don't even have the delivery. Let's say America.
Why are you trying to fight?
Because I'm trying not to cuss.
But that's not my argument, Keith. You're making an argument that's not even on the table.
No, you brought it up about how he dropped the bomb. I'm just telling you.
I'm going to show you. No. I don't care if the bombs was firecrackers. I don't care if they just went over there and threw a couple of sticks of dynamite out and came back home right quick. This was a precursor. Do you understand? They could have went over there and throw a couple of sticks of dynamite out of a helicopter.
Hey, Meech, why don't you do this? Why don't you hold on? Because we're really going long and I need to take a break. So just hold on, man. I'll be back to it. It'll give me a chance to
I can't
decompress.
believe you. That
You're listening to Community Voice. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back, Meech. Continue.
Yes. Okay. Well, what I was saying, you start making a big issue of how deep the bombs can go and how the bombs can do this, brother. That's not what the thing was to test the water. Most presidents wouldn't test the water because they know what it would shake up the economy. Plus, they don't know what the arsonists, the Chinese, or maybe even the Russians have been supplying Iran with. Now, what's really blowing me out the water is the drone power they have. They have quite a few. Look like they would have done shot out already, but they ain't shot out already. They got action. So the thing was, I don't care if they didn't do nothing but fly over, brother, and shoot a couple sticks of dynamite out and come back just to test the water. See, this was a precursor to see just who was going to back Iran, what Iran had, and they went over and pow, and come on back.
Russia is sharing satellite images of American installations in the Gulf. And then they take the sanctions off of Russian oil.
Mm-hmm.
What does that make any sense to you?
That means that they might be in cahoots. That's what that means. That means it might be in cahoots. See, what me and you see, brother, it's people in the rooms, man, that me and you will never ever get a chance to even. We couldn't even fathom the stuff. It's just like David Duke, and I'll just say this, and I don't care who get mad about it. David Duke and Farrakhan could be having coffee every morning over the internet talking. And what you gonna do with your people this morning? Well, I'm gonna do this here. Well, I think I'll do this. We don't know what people do, man. Okay. But anyway, you talked about Bush and what he did. Okay. You talked about the president we have now, but you forgot to talk about our great president, Barack Obama, who came in and ran on the Patriot Act, that he would get rid of it, that it was bad that George Bush put the whole country under surveillance. Okay, that's the reason, and we're having a fallout with it right now with cameras and license plate readers, and it's just mad, man. No privacy at all. Obama ran on that he would get rid of it, he would destroy it. The dude came in, and you know what he did? He intensified it, the surveillance of American people, man. Now, if that ain't a blunt out lie, and that was treasonous against the very people that put him in there. Because surveillance started taking place so heavy, man. I mean, it was supposed to be about terrorists, okay? But then they got a camera on 24th and Burleigh, 29th and Burleigh, trained down the alley. A terrorist is scared to go back there at night in the summertime. So why do you're surveilling us, the people? And it's all across the country. So when you want to talk about, and we ain't going to talk about Joe Biden, because that might really make you mad. Joe Biden told a whole
talking
bunch
about Barack
people.
Obama didn't?
No, I just made the statement that he brought us under surveillance. He intensified something that me and you can't stand. I'm sure you can't stand being surveyed. I can't. I don't like it. I don't think it's cool. I think, that goes along with the HIDA program that's been put in our community. And
well,
the
I kind of want to get back to the point that I was making, was nobody really thought this out. And the consequences of this behavior.
We have to be reset. There has to be some point of reset.
I don't know what the reset was. And then here's the thing:
bad,
when your intelligence is telling you,
so bad,
and maybe that's the problem when they bring it to Trump, is intelligence, and he rejects any intelligence. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe he gets up and he just believes in the force. One of the things about World War II that really kind of fascinates, calls the poor decisions of leadership. I've been watching, I don't know if you watched the thing on the Revolutionary War and that Ken Burns did. And it talks about that a lot of times it was the leadership who made poor decisions.
I didn't watch it, Brother Keith. I haven't watched it. I studied it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, I haven't watched it. I studied it. Bro. So I understand where you're coming from, and the dramatics and the impressions over the television is great. It's sort of like reading the Bible. If you don't study it, you just done read it. So I mean, it's just like.
Let me ask you a real quick question. I got to go because I don't know if our guest is calling in. So I asked a question. I asked this question yesterday: is slavery wrong?
Slavery was very wrong.
Has it always been wrong?
It's always been wrong.
So the Bible supports slavery, right?
Guess what? guess what? It does.
Okay.
And,
Right.
and let me share this with you before. See, you just made us. You throw the rock. Now you finna run.
He's on
You throw the
line,
rock.
Keith.
Now you finna run. Listen,
Hey, I gotta go,
that's time
Meech.
and period.
But thank you for answering the
tomorrow.
question. Honestly, I appreciate it, but I really do have our guest.
Oh,
So
you got guests. I'm sorry. All you had to do is say we got
I
company.
said that to you.
I'm sorry, brother.
Okay, brother.
I'm sorry, brother.
Oh man, what a crazy Wednesday. Oh my God. All right, we ready? We have on the line with us, Brother Elijah Ahmad. Am I doing it? Ahmad Lewis.
He's sitting there with it now.
Is he?
Okay, he says he has joined.
Oh, okay, there he is. Okay, we got him on video. Okay, let me. Let me.
He got his head down. He ain't paying us no attention.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he's there.
Yeah.
Hey, bro.
He can hear us.
Can he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless he don't have his speaker on.
Brother Elijah, can you hear us? Hello?
Can you call somebody and tell him to look his head up?
No.
No,
No,
that ain't him.
hey, what's happening, man?
That's Byron.
That's
man.
Byron.
Byron. I didn't put Byron in there.
He said that ain't him. That's Byron.
There he is.
I thought he looked familiar. What's happening, man? There you go. All right.
All right, guys, there's an alarm going on.
What's happening, man? My bad, man. We had some technical difficulties, and we looking at one of our producers. I'm Kim Big C got his head down because he wasn't supposed to be on the video. Brother Elijah Ahmad Lewis, what's happening, man?
I'm good. How are you? Can you hear
Hey,
me?
man. Yeah, can you hear? Is that okay?
Yeah,
Hey,
I have an alarm going off in my room right now.
Okay, man. How you been, man?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Good. Great opportunity. You played the Scarecrow in the revival of The Wiz.
So,
Where are you from originally?
New Jersey, Newark, New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where in Jersey?
Newark.
Oh, you're from Newark. I had some is that us?
No, it's me.
Oh.
My hotel.
You good? Okay.
Yeah.
I had some classmates from Essex Catholic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in Newark. Yeah, okay, man. Well, man, and then I'm looking at you, man. So James JT Taylor,
That is my uncle.
that's your uncle, man. You look like bruh. It was good, man. First of all, they got that induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and that he performed with. That was wow. That's something, man. So tell us a little bit about you, man. You know how you grew up, how you got into music.
Yeah, I mean, well, growing up in entertainment, my dad was a music producer. He worked under Clive Davis, and my other uncle Troy Patterson too, who worked under him. And my mom was an actress, and she works in digital commercial buying. So I've always been in music, growing up in church, of course, and then growing up with my uncle. So yeah, I've started when I was 7. Doing things here and there, modeling, voiceovers, and then just kind of continued and just kept rolling.
So is that your alarm, or
It is. It's my hotel is.
oh, it's at your hotel? Okay. Okay, so we always talk about the traumatic experience of having to do that first Easter speech. Was that the experience, man, or you just a natural? You just popped in and
No,
it
you
was
wanna know
popping
something?
there.
Quite ironically, the first time I ever sung like a solo in front of people was first grade.
Okay.
And it was my first grade concert, and I was nervous, but not. Only because it was the first time there were a lot of people. And then once I saw people's responses, I was like, oh, okay, I think I can do this.
That is a drug, ain't it, man? Audience affirmation is a drug. You want to be able to. So just coming up, and then did you perform in high school?
Oh, yes. I went to 2 different high schools. I went to Passaic County Tech in Wayne, New Jersey. It was a vocational high school. And then I was afforded the opportunity to transfer my junior year to Cicely Tyson's new high school in East Orange.
Okay.
Her performing arts high school, and I was sought out. I was the only one who didn't have to audition. I actually had a tour of the high school 2 weeks before school started. I was so angry with my parents. Junior year, you getting your fly right
Right.
before senior year. But I have to say, it was the best opportunity going there and working there and working with her, working closely with her and being her prodigy for about 3 years. So yeah, I did all the productions there. I also helped produce a production with her. Um, she directed a few of my shows. And yeah, then I studied at Cap 21, which was an extension of NYU,
Okay.
which left, and I think now it's actually back. I mean, I was continuously working. I haven't really stopped working since then.
What, so what would be, in terms of the music, and you have several genres, but what, it sounds like you're coming up during the time of hip hop. What, and then, you're growing up in the church. How do those things influence you in terms of maybe roles that you were attracted to or how you perform?
I think my upbringing let me know that I'm a melting pot of a lot of things. Like I said, my dad was a music producer, so we always had a studio in the house. Kenny Lattimore recorded at my house. A lot of hip hop artists recorded at my house. So 1, 2 in the morning, I'm in the bed hearing thumping, 808s.
Right.
And then growing up in church, my mom was ordained minister. My dad was the minister of music, head of the music. My grandfather was head of Church of God in Christ in Patterson, New Jersey. My nana on my mother's side was, so it's all in me, all facets, all sides, jazz, R&B, classical. I was exposed to a lot of that, and I think growing up and being able to experience different cultures and traveling just let me know that I was able to create my own melting pot of music.
Yeah, and it's when you talk about the Church of God in Christ and just the music that came out of the Church of God in Christ. I'm Baptist, but just when you think about that and just the influence that it has, I was watching the Academy Awards and they did the tribute to sinners
Mhm.
and how sinners, and I forgot that in the movie, how they were saying that all the music that you see started at a certain source, and
Yeah,
and we would say that it was the church before it was the blues,
absolutely.
but then everything just branches out from there in terms of music.
Our music came from our survival,
Hmm.
and the being able to pick ourselves up and keep going. That's why I think that when turmoil happens, we're the ones that survive because we know it already.
Yeah.
It's the music that brought us over. It's the sounds, the Underground Railroad, singing your map. That's a God-given ordained skill. How are you gonna sing over and letting someone know where you needed to walk and travel? And it's the same thing with Wiz in this particular production of the 50th anniversary. We hit all genres. We have jazz, we have R&B, we have pop, we have gospel, we have jazz, we have classical musical theater, because it's all facets of us. In this 50th anniversary, we are giving the world back what we created.
Why do you think? And maybe I'm just maybe to build on what you just said.
Mhm.
Why is the revival of the Wiz so timely now?
Well, I think the story of The Wiz itself is timeless. Um, the books that were written, of the Wonderful Wizard of Oz, it is a universal story of finding where you belong. And I think daily we're always trying to find where we belong, where we fit in, you know, um, trying to make our way in certain niches and to be accepted by people. But I think that the Wizard of Oz story reminds us that we are who we are for a reason. And you can't pull away from that, because then you'll miss the opportunity of why you are who you are. When she found Scarecrow, when she found Lion, when she found Tin Man, they were in places where they were unsure of themselves. But at the end, it was themselves that brought all of them through. If they negated from who they were, they probably would have never gotten to where they needed to be. So I think this particular story and the way we tell it, there's a connection to everyone who wants to feel accepted, who wants to feel worthy.
Well, I think also, that road to yourself and only to discover that the things that you were looking for were inside of you.
Uh-huh.
That was the thing, whether it's intellect, whether it's courage, trying to think. The Tin Man was intellect. Scarecrow was
brain,
brain,
courage, Tin Man was heart.
heart. But we have all those things.
Absolutely.
That and it's just a matter of you being able to discover those things, like you're discovering your gift for music, right?
Absolutely.
Now, environment has a lot to do with it too. Obviously, I mean, if you grow up in an environment where you're just constantly surrounded with music, it's kind of hard for it not to be a part of you. Now, you have sibs.
I do. I have 2 younger brothers.
Performers.
Yeah. My brother under me, he is a drummer and a music programmer, music director. He was Savion Glover's lead drummer. And also, we all went to Cicely Tyson's high school. We all transferred, so we were all kind of developed under that. My youngest brother, he is a baller, 6'6" baller.
Okay.
So all forms of entertainment, if you would.
Yeah, I just and it's this thing of and again, that adaptation when they did the original Wiz on Broadway was to take something and then to apply a African sheen to something that is kind of a universal story.
Yeah. And to be quite honest, I mean, if we're being real here, everyone bites off of us.
Oh, you're saying there's some appropriation going on, bro?
I mean, everyone bites off of us. A lot of things that we have, we originated.
Right.
And they've taken it and they flipped it and made it their own. And all we're doing is reintroducing to you what was already ours and what you already fell in love with. And to also remind people in this story that we're more alike than apart. So there's no reason for a divide. It's actually more of a reason for community.
So what attracted you to the Scarecrow?
Well, quite ironically, in 8th grade, it was the first production I ever did. We actually sang to the cast album of the movie, but me being the person that I am, sang over the cast album and added my own harmonies and things to Michael Jackson.
Okay.
And that's where I kind of bit the bug. Of course, growing up, watching Michael do it and seeing him in a different light than we were used to seeing him, it was very transformative and out of mind. But particularly for this particular production, Scarecrow is always portrayed as dumb, aloof, stupid. All the marbles are not there, but he's a scientist, so actually he has all the marbles plus the ones of everybody else. And all he did was believe somebody. He believed Evelyn that she said he didn't have a brain. I think what connected me to that is growing up in the industry at a very young age. I was around a lot of people who tried to tell me things to make me who they wanted me to be for them.
Okay.
And, growing up in that, growing out of that, and growing into myself, I wanted to humanize Scarecrow a little bit and play him in the sense of, I have moments where, of course he doesn't have a brain, so you have to play to that storyline. But I play him in a way where his instinct is what he feels first, and he has to go with his instinct in every situation and discovery of what he knows already and seeing to come back. So I wanted to portray that for people, knowing that, certain people who have that trait, you're not dumb, you're not stupid, but you also have to believe what your instinct is, because that is your strongest power.
How do you stay centered?
Kevin and Felicia, my parents. And I have a great team. My manager and godmother is Vi Higginson from WBLS and Kiss FM, and from the play Mama I Want to Sing, which is the longest running Black off-Broadway theater musical in history from American theater. And my uncle, I have a great group of people around me who have been in this thing, who remind me what my task and job is, and that I am a pure vessel. My careers, my roles, my projects that I've taken have proven that. And just understanding that I'm here to shift. And it's not about me. I'm just a vessel to be used.
How much when you look at people who did past productions, the people who worked, and who's doing the choreography for you all?
Jaquel Knight, who choreographed Single Ladies for Beyonce, and Works with Megan Thee Stallion and so many people. He choreographed this show, um, which is quite amazing.
No, because I looked at the people in the past who had did it, and you see some of these names, and so
Yeah.
like, wow, okay.
This is a legendary historic piece. It's when you even look at the lineage of the Scarecrows, like, being able to have connected with Hinton Battle before he passed, was quite amazing, and being able to work on different things with him that were in development at certain times. Um, I think with the Wiz and anyone who's touched it, we know there's a responsibility to honor our culture fully. And we got to do it right, because for something of ours to last 50 years in a lane that wasn't open for us shows monument, longevity in itself.
Wow, when you were 7 years old doing that performance, did you see yourself being in this place today?
Yeah, I did. I have dreams about things. God talks to me in very different ways, and I knew very early on that I was special. And growing up, I
My
wasn't.
mother called me special, but I don't know if she did when she called me special. That was a compliment. She, she was talking to me one day, and I frustrated her. She said, "I should have put you in special school. You can take that anywhere you want." So it went from a compliment to a diagnosis. I was like, "Wow,
I always knew I was special, and something that people do not know, I do have a form of dyslexia. Um, so when I discovered that in school, I always felt, isolated, or I wasn't accepted a lot from certain people because they couldn't understand me. Um, and when those things happened, I was like, oh, I'm special for a reason, and I kind of leaned into it.
It's amazing how we can have things that might be considered a deficit, but it becomes our what is the word? Our
It's my
impetus
superpower.
to overcome it.
Yeah, it's my
Like
superpower.
Andre Crouch. Andre Crouch had an
Woo!
incredible stammer. You
One
know,
of my one of my mentors that I looked up to. Yes.
and so you had people there who, and it's somehow we can take our deficit and it becomes that thing that propels us,
Yeah.
right? Because we all start off with I heard this preacher, he said Moses, all he had was a stutter and a stick. And I said, help us.
Yeah.
But not really. I mean, when you think about people, the deficits that they come from,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that like I'm just saying
No,
I'm sorry being so imprecise in my speech, but those things there where like me being a public speaker had everything to do with me overcoming shyness,
Mhm.
and I felt that that was one place
Mhm.
that I could overcome that,
Mhm.
and it became this motivator. So
It's the same with Dorothy. And in our particular story, her parents passed, and she went to live with her aunt M.
mhm.
And she, you know, Dorothy was an orphan, So there were things about her that she didn't understand, and there were things that she didn't connect with, but she knew she was special in some way, but it was odd. And with that, and being with people and learning people, I believe in the back hinge of the story, that's the only way she felt comfortable enough to be in this odd world of Oz, to be able to talk to the scarecrow who has hay coming out of his body, lion who's roaring around and jumping around the stage, and Tin Man who's rusty. Like, I would be scared of these things if I was her age at this time, but she wasn't, because of a deficit or because of a setback that she had that was actually her superpower in order to get her where she needed to go.
Man, what a great conversation. Again, Mr. Elijah.
Often.
Mr. You're not in Milwaukee yet.
No, not yet.
Okay, okay. Um, but again, the revival of the Wiz playing at the Marcus Performing Arts Center. It starts on March 24th. That's opening night. We've had Mr. Elijah Ahmad Lewis here talking about, man, great insight. And thank you for giving us insight into that story, because a lot of us have seen it,
Yeah.
and we either down with the music and we miss, but there's a very complicated layer story going on there that maybe it kind of applies to all of us one way or another.
It does. It's the universal story of the human race. It's a story of acceptance and a story of discovering self. And I think that's why people keep coming back, because there's an emotional draw they have to it. And sometimes they're masked by the music of it. But
Mhm.
then when they go home and actually feel what they feel, they really dissect it and realize their connection to it.
Appreciate you, man.
Of course, man. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Elijah Ahmad Lewis, or is EAL?
Yes.
Yeah, and he'll be playing the Scarecrow in the revival of the Wiz, beginning here on March 24th at the Marcus Performing Arts Center. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you, man.
All right. You're listening to Community Voice. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. Man, it was so good talking to this brother after talking to Meech. Man, it's just oh man. I can truly say that I love all. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother Elijah, for just restoring my great love for descendants of enslaved Africans who live here in the Americas in this diaspora. Debo showed me a video. Now I know it's supposed to be so good it make you want to slap your mama.
Yeah.
But I got a new one now. I'm gonna say that this was so good it had me singing a Negro spiritual. That's some serious soul food, man. It was just like what it was a video. First time these white folks ever had what we call soul food. All they really need to do is get with some of the redneck cousins. They eating the same thing. Yeah. But I asked this question, and I don't know: are sweet potatoes naturally sweet?
Not to me.
Okay, then that explains then why we put a half a bag of sugar.
I mean, I've seen it. A whole half a bag.
It seems almost counterintuitive that you would add sugar to a sweet potato. Call it
sweeter potato.
And call it diabetic. That just make up a word, is what it? A diabetic.
2 left foot potato.
Or amputated foot potato.
Call it foot. No foot.
No foot. Call it. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, good morning. I know you've talked about several things, and I just wanted to ask you a question because I was washing dishes this morning. Do you feel that Jesus, God, or Caesar Bujaya, do you feel he's color struck or he has a problem with colorism? Because I think about so many things that black people go through, but it seems like all the people that's doing the devilment is getting a heaven. But then when it comes to black people, I don't see that ultimate power. And I know they said Jesus supposed to be dark like chocolate and hair like steel wool. Do you feel he's color struck?
I don't. No, hold on. No. What's that?
That's the Lord right there intervening. That's Jesus right there.
White Jesus? No, you know what? No. This is gonna have to come off, man. Because we can. No, I
don't know. Somebody playing.
Well, why don't you? Okay, thank you, brother. All right. No, I don't, and here's why. And I've had, and let me thank the good folks. They're doing this whole series out of the book of Luke, out the Bible, and no, I think Jesus wasn't. I think his interactions with the Samaritan woman. Him telling the story of the Samaritan offering aid. I think that he probably was progressive for his time because he went beyond his ethnicity, right? Because the way Jews looked at everybody else as less than. And that wasn't his approach. I think it was a more universal approach to it. So no, I do not think so. I think that if anything, he really got to look. And I don't know how to say this where it's scientifically valid, but complexion is not what makes us who we are. And that seems kind of convoluted. I understand under the construct of racism, right, that, we will tend to look at that. But I think Jesus always looked to the humanity, like the suffering of people. That's humanity. That's Ubuntu, as Bishop Tutu talked about. So no, I don't think so. I think now there were people around him who didn't like anybody that wasn't a Jew, and there was a lot of ethnic groups. But I think we have to be able to see people's humanity. And sometimes the labels or the descriptors we put on people kind of strip people of their humanity. So how much can I really see your humanity? Because then it gets back to what George is saying, because if I see your humanity, then I know that you're suffering just like I'm suffering, right? And then hopefully that will elicit us to pursue justice. Not always the case. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to make 2 or 3 points. One thing is,
how you gave so much of my time to your previous caller, going in that circles and down those rabbit holes. The other thing is, we need, you and Dr. Bryant need to apprise the listening audience of Black Rock, Citizens United, and the antitrust laws quite violated, and that's why we're in the situation we're in. And we're talking about Trump. I'm gonna give Trump some points. I believe he believes his lies, and that just almost justifies his direction. And y'all have a good one.
All right, appreciate you. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Hey, Keith, this is John. How you doing?
Hey, John.
Remember you had a minister on probably several months ago, and he had a pretty long talk about an hour, and I called. I suppose I called too late, but he said that Jews think of other people as dogs. Do you remember I called you on that?
No. Okay.
He said they look at other people as dogs, and I thought that's ridiculous. So I called up. Maybe I was too long-winded because I went into Noah's laws, which isn't very well described if you look at Noah in Genesis chapter 9 when he kicked out of the ark, when they see the rainbow. And God gives him a few little laws. So the rabbis in the Talmud elaborate on it. They say 7 laws of Noah. So people who are not Jewish are called Noahites. Not taught in Christianity at all. A lot of Jews don't even know it. No, Jews do not think of people as dogs, not at all. Furthermore, Jews don't hate dogs. That's a side thing. They don't think they're better, but it's sort of like yoga. Because somebody said, well, there's a place in the Talmud where they said your Jewish soul is better. So I looked it up. What it boils down to is sort of like yoga, when you're doing yoga or kung fu. When you're becoming Kwai Chang Kang, you're becoming the student of the kung fu master. The master has cultivated his soul. It doesn't mean he's better than you. And so it's really urgent that people understand that, because when it says they're going to be a light to the nations, a blessing on all, and those who bless them will be blessed, those who curse them will be cursed, there's nowhere in there where it says they're better. And there's the poetic thing that you're the apple of my eye and all that kind of stuff. That's like part of the idea that you singled yourself out. They chose themselves to, because God says, now, the chosen word is such a troublesome word. People obsess. You think you're chosen. There's nowhere it says chosen means better. It's like you singled somebody out. So God says, here, who wants to be the guy to become the star of the reality show where it didn't work when I gave you all the laws of the whole human race being one big human race? You're still one human race. There's exactly the same atomic structure. There's nothing about Jews that's better. Nothing. It's just you singled yourself out to be an example of what happens and what goes right or wrong, depending on how you act. Then the test for everybody else is, can you watch this reality show and learn from them? So if Jesus is the fulfillment, according to his statement, I come to fulfill it. I don't come to change it. I understand what you said about extending it outward. There was always the opening, just like there still is. So it's like they can't do it. They're damned if they don't, damned if they do. Like, okay, you invite people in, but you're not pushing it on anybody. And there's a strict kind of like the Orthodox want you to go through little rituals to become, if you become Jewish. But if you're not, you're accepted as what's called Noahide, meaning the righteous Gentiles. That's really key. To be considered righteous Gentile is like you're just the righteous nation. You have less duties, and you're able to have the same love from the Lord. Am I making any sense at all?
I saw that, and I think that, and that gets back to the question that Al asked about the outsider, right?
Al's the guy who called a couple of minutes ago?
Yeah, the non-Jew, right? And I mean, there's a lot of anti-Semitism, and I think those tropes go out in terms of how we then do a shorthand to describe a group of people. I asked this question. Pastor Lanier last Wednesday. Does God have favorites?
Right.
And of course, if I'm writing a book about me, Of course,
Right.
I'm going to say that I'm God's favorite. I'm writing it from my perspective. I don't have this universal. I don't think that Judaism had a universalist kind of view of the world. I think it was very parochial. It looked at what it was to be Jewish. And that's the
Well, what
problem
was the
that
thing
we
about Noah that I said? I just explained the thing about Noah.
Yeah, but first of all, I don't know.
Comes before Judaism.
I don't know if Noah was real.
No, I'm saying the teaching. I'm saying the teaching.
I got the
lesson.
teachings of that in terms of, but I also got where I don't think that God has favorites.
Okay, I understand. That's why I'm saying. What about the Noah story that's universalistic?
Well,
and that's
if I look at the
actual...
Noah story, the way that story was certainly presented in America was that then African people.
I'm not talking about Ham. I'm not talking all
Well,
about
no,
Ham.
but what I'm saying
That's,
is, so
you know.
even when you say the story, but then even in the story, for me,
the way the Ham was painted, that's a different subject. I'm not talking about that. I understand that. That's a ridiculous
well, I think
thing.
that's
I agree
great
with you.
because
totally
that
agree with you.
applies. Then that law applies to Jews. That law
What are you
doesn't
talking about?
necessarily apply to me. The Noahic laws, that applies to Jews. The
Well,
Ten
yes, the
Commandments
human-
applies to
yes.
Jews.
The whole human race, right?
No,
the whole human race.
no.
I'm sorry.
They didn't write it for the whole human race. They
That's
wrote
what
it for
the
Jewish
Noahide is
people.
for. The Noahide is from way before Abraham.
I got all of that, but that wasn't. Those were those people, right? It wasn't written for Africans. It wasn't written
I'm
for
just talking about the
Europeans.
lesson. I'm talking about the lesson.
I got the lessons, but what I'm saying is that those lessons are particular and they're targeted to a particular group of people. Now, should they be applied universally based on?
Wait a minute. We were talking about the actual philosophy. You said they think. I'm not talking about whether that they're seeing a relationship to them and God, and they're recording this book. That's not. I'm just saying that their teaching is not that they're better. I'm not trying to say that you're wrong, that in an anthropological sense, they're having this direct link like the yoga master is to God. I'm just saying that they don't
When
teach.
you say that you are God's chosen, that puts
But
you
keep
in.
getting stuck on the word chosen.
Okay.
The chosen means that you're in a reality show and that you have singled yourself out to be a light to the nations, not that you're better. And the light doesn't mean you're better.
Do Judaism support that Jews are children of God?
Yeah, the whole human race is.
That's not what I asked you.
Okay, yes, they do. Yes.
Okay. And so when I look at the Bible, and that's
But I just said they think the whole human race is.
I don't think they were being inclusive of the whole human race
what?
because they haven't been
Sorry, go
exposed to
ahead.
the whole human race.
Wait, slow down again. Say it again. I was talking.
I'm saying that I don't know if the Bible, certainly the
Yes.
Old Testament, was written for the whole human race. The Old
It says it
Testament.
is. It says it is. It says it's a light to the nations. At Genesis, a light to the nations. That everybody.
Well, let
will
me
be
ask this
blessed.
question then.
Go ahead.
Let's because and I know Dr. Ward is probably rolling in his seat right now. So when people talk about, okay, who is the Messiah coming for that Isaiah talked about?
The whole human race.
No, he wasn't.
What do you mean he wasn't? It says right in there. It says Assyria and Egypt and Israel will lie down together and they will be
He
together.
came. The Messiah is a deliverer. A
the whole human
deliverer
race.
isn't that what Messiah means?
Yeah,
Okay,
Oh,
so
no,
the
it's-
Messiah.
yeah,
Wait,
sure.
hold on. So the Messiah
Correct.
is a deliverer.
correct.
So when they talk about it, they're talking about based on where they were in human history,
Right.
why that prophecy was so profound during the time of Jesus was because of Roman occupation.
Yeah, it's a
So they were
repetition
looking
of
for
Babylon.
a
Repetition
Messiah
of the Babylon.
to physically free them
Correct.
from the yoke, particularly at this moment, of Roman domination. What I'm saying is that wasn't for the people in Niger. That wasn't for the people in South Africa. That was very particular to the Jewish people and the struggle that the Jewish people had. And at this point, again, when they go, because now we used Isaiah as the forecoming of Jesus, the Christ for the world. That is not when Nicodemus went to talk to Jesus. He didn't ask him, "Were you here to save the world?" He was asking him, "Was he the one that the scriptures talked about that would deliver the Jewish people.
But then by extension, the whole human race.
No, that came later.
Okay, if you want to know what Jews think, ask Chabad.
Do Jews believe that Jesus was the Christ?
No, Jewish people did not follow that. Right.
No, today, do Jewish people believe that Jesus is the Christ?
No.
Is he the Masdi? No.
No.
Okay. So my point is, so we have this, because of Christianity, we have this thing of Jesus came to save the world. During that time, the question was, did Jesus come to save the Jewish people?
But that goes with the whole human race.
No, it doesn't. Because the whole human race wasn't dealing with what the Jewish people were dealing with during the time of Jesus. Unless they were under the Roman thumb.
Everybody has their own specific circumstances, but the Messiah is supposed to liberate the whole human race. The Jews come along with that because they're the focal point, and then everybody comes to Zion.
I guess the problem with that then is, why don't Jews accept then Jesus as the savior of the human race?
Because we weren't saved. The world is, remember I said Malcolm versus Martin? We didn't get
When you
saved.
say we wasn't saved, what do you mean we weren't saved? Who's the we?
The human race is still in war.
Okay. So then it came from the Jewish people, not necessarily for me.
It did come for you.
After the fact.
It should have. It should have.
Okay, thank you.
The Messiah.
Well, I got to go, man. I got to do a break. But thank you, John. Appreciate you, man. As always. You listen to Community Voice. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Keith Parris.
All right, welcome back to Community Voice, and let me shout out the Howard University Bison. Go Bisons! They played themselves into they played themselves into playing Michigan. Wow.
Man, I actually have a great friend that's from here that we grew up together, Jasmine Woodruff, and her son plays on that squad. He's number 10
For Howard?
for Howard.
Okay.
So yeah, they are going dancing. I saw the video that March Madness put out with them, and talking to all of the mothers
and
from
they
the
dance
team.
right to. It's like when Mount St. Mary's wins the NEC. Trust me, they're going to play the number 1 overall seed.
So are they playing Michigan?
Yeah, they got Michigan.
Now, it could be one of those Cinderella
UMBC,
years, man.
the team that they beat last night was the team that got a number 1. They beat a number 1 UMBC.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking Darius Butler's wife, Lakeisha, graduated from the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. So but no, Goliath wins most of the time.
Yeah, but this might be one of those times.
Well, hey, and look,
there's
man,
been a lot of buzzer beaters too.
Right. And now with all that NIL money, they was talking about the money that LSU spent on their women's team. It's like $11 million. That's on their women's team. We ain't even talking about what the football team is getting, what the men's basketball team is doing. But yeah, man, and so if you have a school like Howard, some of those guys are playing there, and then they're gonna get in transfer portal.
Yeah.
But when you looked at UMBC and Howard last night, they're little.
Yeah.
And
it's like
I mean,
YMCA.
man, and it's funny because when I was at the Mount, we used to play in a conference called the Mason-Dixon Conference, and the University of Maryland, Baltimore County was in that. They were in that conference. Also, Towson State. These are Baltimore area schools, and these were big dudes.
So
I mean,
like those schools, were they like considered like how our MATC is?
No,
like
they
the
were.
UWM are?
We were D2, and then they went D1, and then we went D1, and that's when we got in. We started off at one conference, and then I think we ended up in the Northeast Conference. So yeah, you look at the size of these because HBCUs can't compete with a LSU. When it comes to now, because you can pay players, and you don't necessarily have the money there to do what you have to do. Again, they tend to be smaller. When you looked at Michigan's team, even Michigan against Wisconsin, how big Michigan is. Michigan is a big team, man. I mean, these are big dudes.
Big boy.
Yeah, and it makes a difference now when you get in the NCAA tournament. Though anything can happen. Anything can happen. So Michigan don't totally go to sleep.
Yeah,
because they can sneak up. You have a bad game. You think about looking ahead.
Yeah,
and then you get caught up right now. So Michigan's going to have to handle their business.
Yeah,
because they might sneak up on you.
All you need is one good hot shooting game, man. Do you get that hot shooting game?
One and done.
Yeah.
That's the difference between the NCAAs and the NBA championship or NBA playoffs. NBA playoffs, that's a series. Yeah. This ain't a series. You lose, you go home.
It's over.
Yeah, it's Sunday on the playground. You ain't playing again. You lose that game, yeah, you gonna be there for a while. Especially when the park is packed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna be there for a while. That's why that first game, man, it felt like you done played 4 overtimes because they know once you sit.
Yeah. It's over, yeah. And then I don't like sitting anyway because, once you start stiffing up, it's like.
And then I sit there, now I'm doing the play-by-play.
Right.
My color commentary because I'm hating because I'm not out there playing. So let me do this. All right, and let me think. My guy Victor pointed out Judy Pace died a couple of days ago.
Yeah, the actor.
Yeah,
I was gonna tell
she
you
was
about
married
that.
to Kurt Flood. One of the most beautiful black women
Man, she's
ever,
beautiful.
ever.
Yeah, Judy passed. Kiki Palmer passed.
No, not Kiki.
I mean Kiki Shepard.
Yeah. Wow.
Palmer, man.
Kiki Palmer.
Now, man,
Who was the comedian that always did the Kiki jokes?
Kiki, you love me.
Because didn't they do a song about Kiki?
Yeah.
That's another black nickname.
Yeah, Kiki.
Kiki.
What about Keefe?
Come on, man. Why you gonna do
No, there is, man, Keefe D. They used to be with Tupac.
Yeah, but I know a Keefe that stayed on 23rd and Hopkins. His name was Keith. They call him Keefe.
Yeah, Keefe.
Man, and it's my guy Keefe Young.
They never called you Keefe?
Yeah, man, they called me Keefe, and I wasn't very accepting of that.
Why?
That ain't my name. Jerry. Anybody call you Jerry?
No, but they call me. And they call me Mano.
I know they call you Mano. I know you roll with Mano.
Hey, Mano, J Rock.
They should call him Maney.
J Rock.
J Rock, yeah. They call me J Rock.
Call him Maney.
Maney.
For Maniac.
No, they used to call me
J Rock.
So did you hear his question of the morning this morning?
Now, listen, I do find that to be true that we all need to go back and apologize, man.
I got a whole lot of things to apologize to my mama for. That ain't one of them. It wasn't my fault that she had me all contained up in there.
You needed
for
room?
the 9 months she carried me, and there wasn't enough room, and I just get the
no charge.
He gonna always take it back to church.
9 months she carried.
My mama used to threaten me. She said, "I don't need to go and put on some Shirley Caesar, do I?"
No charge.
No charge. You know, you go in and you had the nerve to ask for something.
She had the mother songs down pat because she had that one, "Don't Drive Your Mother Away."
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
And I was trying to figure out which brother was I gonna be.
you know which brother you was gonna be.
I hope not.
You and your wife.
I hope not.
And Rhonda come to you and say, she's getting in our way now. She beans out of a can. No. She didn't eat beans out of a can. That was the other son that ate beans out of a can.
She was splitting verbs, and you know that you
she's a school teacher or something. She didn't want to.
Yeah,
mother use it. She uses bad English.
We had that come up, and you kind of thinking like, well, I'm in the situation that I'm in because of that woman who split her verbs and the sacrifices that she made in order for me to even be able to speak English somewhat properly.
Right.
So, yeah. I got a text here. Let's see. Good morning. Russ College concert. I got April. Okay, good. All right. Let me. Craig chimed in. Oh, okay. Well, he had a couple of things just in terms of where you were going. Shout out to Jeremiah Johnson, 2-time state champion in Wisconsin and Maryland before going to Howard, grandson of Sam and Crystal Woodruff.
Yeah, but on my peoples.
Is my Tech 79 classmate. Very good.
You just said your peoples ain't your cousins, right?
No. Jasmine, she was in the state youth choir with us, and that's her son.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who ain't you related to?
Hey, man, we close, man. We close around here, man. People that I'm connected
Start calling
to.
you Abraham.
Hey,
Everybody
had many sons.
Many sons.
Hey.
Now, you know what? We talked about as part of our children's church women history. We were talking about Hagar.
Oh, Hagar.
Yeah. A lot of people may not know that Hagar was African. Yeah. She was an African enslaved woman. And I have a lot of problems with some of the stories in the Old Testament. I'm just going to be honest with you, because some of them is just this idea. I wonder if Abraham would have took Ishmael, his oldest child, up to the mountain like he did Isaac.
To sacrifice?
Yeah. Now it's probably, I love what they did with Family Guy. You know, once again, they walking down the mountain, and Isaac turns to Abraham and go, "What was up with that?" But yeah, I and look, during that time, people were still kind of doing human sacrifices, but wow, that's a deep one. I don't know.
So do you think, man, that people still do human sacrifices?
I hope not.
What? I mean, from some of the stories coming out of Hollywood.
I hope not. Wasn't that that's how King Kong ended up hooking up with her? They was getting ready to sacrifice a virgin, and then they got a blonde white woman.
Right.
We ain't gonna even talk about what that.
Right.
What that, made that monkey lose his mind over a white woman. Over a white woman. You never seen a black woman
Ever.
play that role.
Ever. That is true.
I'm just saying, man. It's Wednesday. I'm feeling all kind of
It's
ways.
a conspiracy with a Z.
With a Z, man. I mean, how come a sister?
Yeah.
How come Viola Davis could not play the female lead in King Kong? Here's the other piece of it. How come all those dark people couldn't figure out how to deal with one monkey?
That's a good question. Yeah, I said he was letting them have it.
Yeah, he was. And that original one, when they come out, man, I mean, it's just like, now it's thousands of y'all,
and one dude,
and y'all can't figure out how to get this one monkey down.
I mean, they shot him. They flew helicopters. Yeah. Well,
it's like Tarzan.
Oh my God.
Now, the people in that area figured out you just don't go mess with lions. They figured that out, right?
Now, you know what? Out of remakes, do you think Tarzan will be a good remake? Like modern day now?
You know, Turner Classic shows the original Tarzan movies.
Yeah.
And they always do a disclaimer. It's like, hey, it's part of film history. They did do a remake of Tarzan, where they de-emphasized the African people. It's like it was a shipwreck, and he ended up growing up there. And yeah, but that's really, that's real problematic that the people in the environment hadn't figured out how to deal with a threat to their environment.
So what about Zorro?
Yeah, actually, Antonio Banderas played a real good Zorro.
So have they did a remake from the original?
Yeah, the one
Really?
with Catherine Zeta-Jones. Yeah, that wasn't bad. Now again, that's a little bit different because that's about the Spaniards and their domination of California. Pre-Civil War. Yeah, Zorro. Now, I used to like the TV series.
Yeah, man.
TV series was pretty good.
Zorro.
But it's like even when they did the remake of the Lone Ranger and how they had to deal with Tonto. Because it was always the servant. Did you ever watch the Cisco Kid?
No, never watched that.
Debo, you remember Cisco Kid? Oh, Cisco. A lot of these things were really racist. And Charlie Chan, Europeans, not an Asian, Europeans played Charlie Chan.
Man, a whole lot of these cartoons, man.
Number one son, number two son?
Huh?
Number one son?
Yeah.
Yes.
Number two son?
Yeah, man. Like a lot of these stuffs, man. Like now that you really look at it, he was like, man, that was racist as a fool.
Scarface, the remake of Scarface. You got all these Anglos playing Cubans. I mean,
racist as a fool.
God, I'm sorry for being so sensitive. It's Wednesday. I'm just sensitive.
Now I know Tom and Jerry was real racist, man. They had the one joint that they had Tom do with the blackface, and he was singing when they sing them songs, the is you is, or is you ain't my baby.
I was watching was it Emperor Jones? And I just don't believe black folks spoke the way that they had them talking in the movies.
Man, Three Stooges, man, they said their eyes get big. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Rochester.
It's like, dude, wow.
Miss Chan.
Yeah, man. Then they looking at the camera and then they run real fast away. And it's like, what?
Man,
they made us look bad.
Man, it just is.
Well, if Steven didn't help us none either. Steven from the Django.
Oh.
You doing at that mail, boss?
Oh man. Well, I couldn't think of, and I don't know why he wasn't nominated for Academy Award for that role.
Yeah,
because
Samuel, he played the heck out that role. He played that. But look, Denzel Washington wins his first Academy Award for playing a slave, not playing a deliverer. Ain't that so?
because I think
Did he
Malcolm
get an
X.
award for Training Day though?
Right, that was after. But when he won the first one, Best Supporting Actor for Glory.
Mm.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
and he was, formerly enslaved African, and that's the joke. I don't know if you saw the movie Bowfinger with Eddie Murphy and Steve Martin, and Eddie Murphy plays this mega star now, and movie star, and everybody's chasing the Oscar. He said, "So why don't you just give me a role playing a retarded slave?" Because he was talking about Cuba Gooding Jr. playing radio.
Oh, radio!
Gore and Denzel Washington what it won for. Did he win an Academy Award for radio?
Nope.
He was nominated though,
He was
right?
nominated, yeah. Yeah,
Look at what they nominate us for.
That's something, man, because Malcolm X was like, man, that was a 12-day movie, man.
Oh man, but I'm
Jesus.
telling you, it was good.
Oh yeah, dude, it was good.
It was good, man.
But
It was good.
You had to sit there forever.
Well, I know Michelle talked about it on Monday, but I did have a tally sheet there. I was keeping score during the Academy Awards because, Color Purple was nominated for 13 Academy Awards and won nada. And so when I was sitting up here going like, now they've been nominated for 16 Academy Awards.
How many they gonna win?
They ended up winning 4, which when you think about it for a movie, because everything is not going to be Titanic. You just sweep everything. It's rare to have movies like that where you just.
Yeah, but why did the Titanic sweep like that, though?
Titanic's actually that's James Cameron.
But still, come on.
The cast in there was pretty.
Yeah, it was actually pretty good.
Yeah, but the cast
the scale
was great.
Yeah, and they had 16 nominations.
Yeah.
And I think the way that Ryan Coogler was able to put together that movie shows that he is probably one of the great filmmakers that we have today in terms of what he's been able to do. I mean, and then when you look at Michael B. Jordan.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
Y'all see the time?
Now it's time to say goodbye to all
What time is it?
Friends.
What time is it? Revolution. What time is it? All right, man. Let me thank Elijah Ahmad Lewis playing the Scarecrow in the revival of The Wiz. Debo, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Jermaine, thank you.
Indeed, Bishop.
Oh, man. I ain't feeling like a bishop right now. Hey, y'all, the good Lord willing, creek don't rise. Hope to talk to everybody tomorrow. And as always, go from this place in peace.